of karma and dharma at their best, they invite this term of reflective responsibility that I was just mentioning a few minutes ago. So karma and dharma, they invite us to ask, what is my duty and how can I act with integrity without endless self-condemnation? So it cuts down rumination. If you think of it like, okay, this happened, but let me focus on the moment and what now can I do? What is my duty right now? And then Sikh practices of seva and simran, seva pulling you into meaningful goal-directed action, simran or mantra repetition, pulling your attention gently back. And then it's this idea of focusing. And finally, Jain emphasis on ahimsa and aparaga. I'm not pronouncing aparaga correctly, but non-violence and non-attachment, including towards your own thoughts and losses. So all of this being about mindfulness. So what I want to end with is, first of all, to discuss the vagus nerve. And what it is in our mind, tradition, what we find is that traditions involving singing, chanting, coordinated movement, or practices of spirituality, or practices in religion, or any synchronized rituals, okay, like sitting for a puja or just praying at the temple, activate the vagus nerve, which is deeply involved in our safe and connected state. So there's actually like a subset now, and I'm sure Dr. Kaur knows about it, but it's basically an idea of engaging in therapy in a way that activates that nerve. So polyvagal theory talks about how certain patterns of breath, vocal tone, and face-to-face connection, including chanting and things like that, can bring the nervous system into a calmer ventral vagal state. We can be more relaxed, engaged, and open to others. The very idea of socialization and meeting other people can activate that. So the last thing I want to do before turning it over to Dr. Kaur is I defined rumination, right? So I want to spend, it'll just take about 10 seconds. I want us to close our eyes, I'll do it too, and think about the flip side of something. We have all been told to practice gratitude. Think about what you're grateful for. But I'll give you a question that is even easier, a task I should say that's even easier. Gratitude still involves, what are the things that I'm most grateful about? It takes like an extra few moments. It really helps, it does. But I'm gonna give you something that's really a quick check and something you can do even easier than gratitude, if that makes sense. Practicing gratitude is easy too, thinking of, and absolutely helpful. What is the flip side of rumination, of thinking of these negative things? When you feel yourself having that sense of tension, especially when you have that undefined sense, what's going on? Nothing's even wrong right now. Why do I feel like this? Imagine for a second, what would life look like if, in the immediate future, if everything went right? Okay, so you close your eyes, and instead of what went wrong in the past, just quickly, and then that gut level image you have of it. It doesn't have to be every single thing, but that first thing that comes to your mind. What would life look like if everything went right? And that image that you get, okay, is it you working in a different job? Is it that, your kid got into their dream school? Whatever it is, like, yes, everything's going right. And you start realizing when you think of that one positive thing, just in those few moments, it all becomes something with syntactic indeterminacy, which is that it's no words, it doesn't have to make any logical sense, but you start getting like, in the same way that pinging and that adrenaline, it's in your mind like that. What would it look like if everything went right? Oh, it'd be this and this and this, and none of it has to make any sense. It just all floods your mind at once. So let's just spend like 5 seconds doing that. We don't need any longer than that because it happens that quickly. So we think, what does it look like if everything went right? So that's a quick way. And again, practicing gratitude and thinking, let me spend a few moments thinking of what is happening in the present. So there's a few quick techniques. You can see here the grounding technique, which is that you actually are keeping your eyes open, not closed, and taking your mind away from what's negative, and you just start looking at what is around you, okay? And it's basically, hey, find 5 things that I can see, find 1 thing that I can smell. So the numbers vary because it's harder to think of what you can smell. So you wouldn't sit and think, what are 5 things I can smell? That takes a while. But it'd be 5 things I can see and 2 things I can touch. You can kind of vary the numbers, but the idea is somehow to get from 5 to 1. 5 of somehow engaging all your senses, whatever works at the moment. That your eyes are open. But then you can also think of gratitude, or here's the other technique I said, just very quick. What would it look like if everything went right? And in that exact moment, you can't think of the negative thing and also what would it look like if everything went right. You can't literally think of both of those things at once. So you're kind of flooding your brain with all of those positive images.
Anila, can we try the 5, 4, 3, 2 technique where everybody can kind of...
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can go around, whoever wants to speak up. I think it's, if we practice it, then it's easier.
We can do that right now. Sure, if there's time. Should we do that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, absolutely. So typically when people are practicing the grounding technique, the one they start with is 5 things that you can see. Okay, so that's the easiest. It can be anything. I can just say it about my charger. It's not about what it is. You're not trying to find things to be grateful for. You're just trying not to think about whatever it is that is stressing your body at that moment. So we find 5 things. So you don't keep your eyes closed. So you say, what are 5 things that I can see? Okay, and then you say, okay, what are 4 things that I can touch? Okay. So 5 things that I can see.
So can we do examples?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to go?
We touch it, but it can be all very easy. So that's it. I've touched it. It still takes that moment that you have to think to do it. It's conscious.
And I think it helps when you touch something in your mind to describe what it feels.
Yeah.
So like touching different surfaces. So, you know, on a pen, it could be like, this is, I feel a smooth surface on the pen.
Yeah.
It could be the table, it's rough.
And it can also be that to think about the connection of different things. And because that, if you start thinking of why is that thing here, it actually can completely distract you. For example, when I touch this, so this isn't my key and it's my parents' car, and I have like a separate problem with my car and a different car. So my husband and I, it's been kind of a little bit of a chaotic week with this car, but then I lost my parents' key for their car, and it's not like my car drives on my phone, but their key needs a key. I mean, their car needs a key, so it's been this whole thing. I have to call AAA. So if I was stressed right now, just thinking of this would actually be quite distracting, because it's like this silly story. Like I'm like, oh my, I'm like, where is that key? So it's not a good thing, particularly that I lost the key. But at least whatever I'm thinking about at the moment, it's gone, because I'm like, right now, where is that key? Okay, and I've at least distracted myself. So you touch it, and it's like, and I was just saying to her right before it started, these look really nice. So touching it, I'm like, wow, look at what a great job they did on that. So everything is, yeah. So texture, or just even thinking, why is this here in front of me right now? Like, let's focus on that. Yeah, makes a difference. So, all right. So number 3, what can you taste? Sometimes people will say they feel dehydrated. Sometimes people will say it more hypothetically, like, I can still taste, the great croissant I had this morning, like I'm thinking of it. So taste. Does anyone have something that some people are actually like, let's say, like drinking water, having coffee? Yeah. So that's our last sense. So one thing that you can taste.
Senses, really, just
all 5 senses. But the idea is to do it by, it's almost like order of difficulty, because you can easily see things, and then the touching, maybe not, there's a bunch of things in front of you. It's accessible, exactly. So the idea of the taste is the last one, but it still grounds you. Even just
going back to the feel, is that emotional or physical, or it could be either?
Oh, when you're touching things?
No, the 2 things.
Oh, the 2 things. The 2 things that you can feel, it's actually it's typically meant to be more physical. It's to
so
really
I can feel tension in my neck.
Absolutely.
Right now,
it's meant to be not an emotional thing. It's meant to, because you're trying to kind of get away from that. It's actually just to focus on the physical senses.
Like my toes are, like you said.
Exactly. Yes, tight shoes, I'm cold, things like that. Yes, it's absolutely, all of these are meant to focus on the physiological aspects. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes you can do even 2 things, like you can smell. So
Yes.
that's the other thing that you'll
Sure, taste and smell.
Yes.
So it could be
Or even one thing, you can just hold on to, like, for example, the keys or pen. Just hold on to it and close your eyes and just feel the texture of it.
Sure.
And that just takes away, you're distracted from what's going on.
Because either way, the last one, that one about smell versus taste, is the singular one. It's the one that, like, you have to really think kind of more within yourself.
You don't smell without taste.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the other way around.
It's the other, right, it's the other, exactly. It's all still that singular one that you have to find. Yeah, but all of them are meant to have
Like
senses.
being mindful of your present situation.
Exactly, yes. When you're forced to think of what do you taste or smell within your body? It has to get you away from a negative thought. It might not be the most interesting thing to do, but it's like it works, you know, because you can't hold more than one cognition.
So I think
Which is why at the bare minimum, if you just say, what would it look like if everything went right? Okay, that's like the quickest thing. But your point is valid that sometimes it feels like I don't want to think about gratitude. And sometimes honestly, unless you're actually writing it down, so there's a big difference between writing down the gratitude versus just thinking of it. Sometimes people will be like, let me just think about what I'm grateful for. It's not that it doesn't work, but there's a huge difference in versus when you put the pen to paper. It's a whole different outcome. So you if that's all you can do right then, that's okay. But writing down the 5 things you're grateful for is different than just thinking about it. And I think there's something to be said about the idea of the rumination because it starts feeling overwhelming. You have to physically do it. So once you start, it does work. But if it does feel like, no, I don't want any structure right now, then just at least like close your eyes and think like, okay, what exactly would life look like? And honestly, like I said, the first thing that comes up is usually the thing that on the flip side is on our minds as like the stressful thing,
Yes.
you know, because it's the forefront of what it is, right? So yeah, so that kind of gives us an idea, even to the answer to the question, like I said, sometimes we feel like, what is this, like, God, I have no reason to be unhappy today. Am I unhappy? Am I stressed? Is it a good stress? Sometimes like, well, maybe it's okay, maybe it's a good stress. Like, that's just semantics. Like ultimately, like too much cortisol is just not good for our body regardless. And we've told ourselves good stress is okay. There is no good stress if it goes on more than that moment. The good stress when you are, you know, seeing someone for the first time after a while, like, oh wow, if that feeling keeps going on for too long, it's not good. We have to think of the physiological aspect of it, but we've normalized the idea of, well, it's okay. Some levels of high energy and stress is good, like not continuously, no. So that,
Well, we're in constant fight and flight mode
yes,
too, right?
But then I think now there's even less impetus to try to stop it, because unless we think of a specific reason that we're upset, we just think of it like, okay, this is probably just like excitement, like it's like a good thing. I think the holiday season that happens a lot too, like, oh, it's just like all this general, like, you know, excitement and tension over the holidays. Like, no, we can't just normalize that. Like, there's just no reason to spend like 3 weeks, like, you know, feeling like we're in some like, elevated level of things. There's no good or bad version of that, right? So yeah, I think that's the thing. We just start using the word of like, how can I structure myself right now? But yeah. So any other questions? So that was the last one of the grounding, yeah. But again, I wanted to emphasize that I was saying the idea of the taste, but smell works just as well.
That's good.
Oh, yes, no, I was trying to listen to their Christmas song.
What's the one thing you hear?
Huh? What's the one thing I hear exactly? I like the season, yeah. When I was younger, when my kids were younger, and we do the tree and then we do it together, then after that they stopped, but then I would still do it, but then play Christmas songs, and now it's like not even that. They're like, oh my God, that song is so loud. I'm like, okay, fine, I'm just gonna do the Christmas tree in quietness, silent, by myself. But anyway, yeah, but I do like the season though, yeah.
But it's fair to say that if you don't have the energy physically to engage in all those activities of the season, it's okay to step back and say. It's
I think
okay.
that's the case all the time for anything.
I feel that way a lot of times. I think that, you know, people go overboard with it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, okay, my kids didn't have that major Christmas stuff going on all
We
the
were like that
time,
for
and it's
Thanksgiving
fine.
too.
It's
Like there's a
okay.
lot of people where it's
We're
like
still good kids.
lots of kids and family getting together, and like we don't have that group here. So there's but then people who have that, it's like, oh, it's a lot. I'm hosting 40 people. I'm like, I don't even I don't even think I could get together like 40 family members like that, and they're not even around here and all that. So I agree with you.
We all have different levels, and we have to be aware of.
Yeah,
our
but I don't think it's about
capabilities.
the holiday season itself. I think it's the idea of, I think that just gives it a label. You can say that about anything. It's like when people talk about like summer, like, oh, in general, like when people's kids are younger and stuff. And I loved summer. I think especially just with my job being a professor, and I would have more time off in the summer, and it was great to spend the time with the kids. And then some people would find that time like quite overstimulating. But then they, instead of trying to calm themselves down about it, like, oh, the kids are at home, or trying to ground themselves, it was just became like, well, that's just normal. It's just because there's a lot going on in the summer. We have travel and the kids are here, and it's like, so I don't think it's just about the holidays. And it's like,
But we can't compare ourselves to others.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
exactly.
saying, because sometimes makes me feel like maybe I'm lazy compared to everybody else.
And I
I
think-
think I am, because I don't want to.
No, you're not. And in
Caught
fact,
up
I
in
didn't
all
give
of
that example, but originally on my
Yeah.
on my talk, that was one of the things that I was saying about what I think one generation says to the next about, well, you guys just are too lazy. You just need to. But I don't think it's laziness. No,
Okay, it's just,
no.
It's just prioritizing.
it's
Yeah, it's your choice
self-preservation.
and you're prioritizing
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's also for the social media thing that we've been talking about from the very
FOMO,
beginning,
yeah.
so the restlessness is not just seasonal.
It's
It's
constant,
like,
it's constant.
you
The day
feel
you're on
lazy because
vacation,
you
why
see
should
somebody
we-
else putting
Yeah.
stuff up
Yeah.
there, doing a snapshot of what they did.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't do it. Gosh, either it's a FOMO or it's like I'm lazy
Or I'm not
I have a
keeping up
terrible
with the
life
Joneses.
and we don't have fun and my family is terrible and I'm so sad and you feel that you go through